Hello, welcome. Hey, how's it going? Sorry about that. I had some needed to change some things, had some technical difficulties, Mercury retrograde kind of winding down, I guess. Um, but hey, welcome to Love Tips and Velvet Lips. I am Marla Renee Stewart here live on Instagram. Hey y'all, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. Just want to talk about big O challenges, right? Orgasm challenges. And I'm like, what is on my neck? Is that lotion? Um, anyway, I hope you all are doing well this week. I hope your week is starting off really well. And one of the things I want to make sure if you have any questions, please feel free to DM me or send them to me or drop them in the chat, whatever you want to do. I'm happy to answer those questions. So today we're going to talk about when you just won't come, right? Understanding big O challenges or orgasm challenges because, let's be real. There's stress, there's shame, there's scripts that can steal your big O. But of course, compassion can always bring it back. So that is one thing that we are going to focus on today, because again, there can be challenges, and those O's, they can be very elusive, because sometimes it might be slow. Sometimes it's a dull fade. Sometimes it's a total no-show, just a freaking blip, or that frustrating, I was almost there, but you lost it, right? Moment. So big O challenges, orgasm challenges are way more common than people think, okay? But most folks don't even talk about it, especially not the real root causes behind those particular difficulties. So today we're going to unpack the layered reality of the big O, right? The big O challenges that we might have, the medications, the stressors, internal and external, and of course, maybe that quiet shame that can keep folks from the pleasure that they absolutely deserve. Okay. So with that said, understand you might have some challenges because of medications. Medications might be blocking your bliss, unfortunately. So your body might be turned on, but your brain might be getting in the way, like literally. So here's some common medications that are known to inhibit the big O and reduce your response, meaning that you have a dull or uneventful big O. Okay. And it was so wild. I just came across this past, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, at Nadia Nollins, and a woman in my class was just like, it's so hard. It's just dull, or I can't. It's like, it's feels good, but it's not there. Hi, how are you? Thanks for joining. So again, antidepressants, so SSRIs and SNRIs, these are huge culprits of an uneventful or dull or non-existing big O, right? Medications like fluoxetine, Prozac, Zoloft, Centralene, or venlafaxine, Effexor, can decrease the libido and delay or even prevent you from having the big O, okay? So some people say that they can feel everything leading up to it, but then the release never comes, right? That big like, never comes. And of course, this can be very frustrating. But these meds are all too common with a lot of my clients and the impact that it has on your O. So again, if you are on those antidepressants, just be aware that that might be a big issue. And so there's something to think about. What is the benefit? Okay. Absolutely. I'm happy to go live. Do this live every Tuesday. Well, most Tuesdays. There's also anti-hypertensives, which are blood pressure meds. And these are, so beta blockers and diuretics may interfere with arousal. So even just on the way getting there, and the big O. So they can reduce your blood flow, which impacts sensation, impacts climax, especially for those with penises. Okay. So having erectile tissues is not fun. And because the blood flow is reduced, it means that it's reduced everywhere on the body, including those with penises and those without, honestly. If you are a vulva owner and you have low sensation around there and you're taking blood pressure meds, that might be an issue. Okay. If you are taking any kind of antipsychotics, right, these can raise, excuse me, prolactin levels in the body, which is a hormone that reduces your libido and makes your big O less likely. Okay. This can also be very frustrating when you are receiving pleasure, but can't get all the way to your climax. Okay. Hormonal medications, including birth control, because lots of birth controls are hormonal meds. So certain hormonal birth control methods can affect estrogen and testosterone levels, both of which play a role in arousal and your big O potential. Okay. So you always ask your provider about the side effects of the type of birth control that you are using, because it could really throw your body off its game. A lot of times doctors would just want to prescribe, the birth control and, not think about the repercussions. And if you are a very verse person in the bedroom, it might throw you all off and take you off your game. So I really encourage you to ask them, what are the sexual side effects of this birth control? Opioids and some muscle relaxers. Okay. Am I cold? No, I'm not cold. I'm in Florida. Very hot. Opioids and some muscle relaxers. So these medications slow down your nervous system and can dull not only pain, but also pleasure pathways. So this means that these meds can dull your big O, which can make a big impact on you, especially if you have experienced really vibrant O's. Okay. So again, it can dull it, and that is not a fun game. And so if you are struggling, a check-in with your prescribing provider is a great first step to get, again, thinking about those repercussions of those meds. You might be able to switch medications or add strategies to support your pleasure physiology. Okay. If you are a person that's taking lots of different meds, I encourage you to go to drugs.com. I really like this website because they have a drug interaction checker, and you can check which meds you're taking, including vitamins, to see if there are any repercussions on your libido. Okay. Because sometimes that can really, again, block your big O. And this is one of the first steps in my client intake. I'm like, oh, I need to know if you're taking, what kind of meds you're taking, what kind of vitamins you're taking, because this is the only way that I'm going to understand if this is causing something with your libido. Okay. Now there are external stressors that block your body's yeses, right? So we have to understand stress is the ultimate buzzkill. So your body can't go into pleasure mode if it's still stuck in survival mode. Okay. That's your nervous system basic. Okay. When your cortisol is high, that stress is high, desire and orgasm can flatline. In other words, the more stressed you are, the less likely a big O is going to occur. So again, here are some external stressors that may be standing in your way. Your job or financial anxiety. Here's the thing. It's hard to surrender into sensation when you're worried about rent, you're worried about bills, or you're worried about deadlines that you need to meet, right? A lot of us are worried about money these days. So it's super important to find the financial resources to eliminate this particular anxiety. Okay. Family pressures or caregiving, especially for femmes and parents, caregiving responsibilities can drain energy needed for sexual engagement, right? If you're constantly worried about your parents or your children and taking care of them, these things can very much drain you, leaving no energy for yourself or for your lover. Okay. The lack of privacy or physical space. You're not imagining it, right? Being constantly interrupted or in shared spaces makes it harder to relax, right? The more you can be alone with only your lover, the better. And what I found with my clients is that when they eliminate the extra people in the house, so parents, grandparents, kids, family members, etc., right? They find that their sex life improves dramatically. So again, if you don't have privacy, you don't have a physical space for yourself, it really can damper you. Relationship tension, right? Unspoken resentment, Lack of trust or miscommunication can really create emotional distance that really blocks arousal. So if you can't resolve your relationship issues, they fester and it turns into a downward spiral that you can't get out of. This is the last thing that you want to occur because it's so hard to kind of up spiral when you're already in the downward spiral. Okay. Another thing is cultural or religious shame, right? So those early messages around sex being dirty or bad can unconsciously inhibit your ability to fully let go, right? So unlearning religious trauma or those sexual scripts that don't serve you can keep your, big O at bay. Now, there's also internal stressors. So those are the external stressors again. So we talked about meds, right? Antidepressants, antihypertensives, antipsychotics, hormonal meds, including birth control, opioids, and some muscle relaxers. We talked about external stressors, so job and financial anxiety, family pressures or caregiving, lack of privacy or physical space, relationship tension, cultural or religious shame. Now we're going to talk about internal stressors, right? When your mind gets in the way, because even in the most relaxed environment, sometimes the internal chatter takes over. So your brain is constantly going and then it won't be able to make those steps or that, what I call the ladder to orgasm. Okay. So these are some of the common internal stressors that affect orgasm, right? Performance anxiety, worrying about how you look, how you smell, how you taste, or whether you're doing it right. This can keep you down and take you away from fully enjoying the experience, right? You got to shed that performance anxiety. Have fun, okay? If you hyper focus on orgasm, so ironically, I am the queen of like, hey, we have to, make sure you get to the big O, okay? Thank you for sending me a message to my DM. I'll check it out as soon as I'm done. When you hyper focus on the big O, right, there is, that can often prevent the big O. So if your goal is the climax, you'll likely skip over sort of the pleasure journey. And that's what you want. You want the pleasure journey. You want to take your time. That's the part that makes it even possible. So don't get too focused on the orgasm and focus on the pleasure steps. Instead, that can possibly get you there to get you to the full intention behind your experience. So again, we want to get on that ladder. That means we are enjoying that journey. We are enjoying that trek to the big O, okay? Past trauma. If you've had, whether it's sexual or non-sexual, that trauma can cause the body to dissociate or freeze. Orgasm requires presence, y'all, to be grounded, to be present. It requires safety. It requires security. And if you are feeling these things, the more likely you are to have an orgasm, right? So again, you want to be present. You want to feel safe. You want to feel secure. Low self-esteem or even body dysmorphia, so disconnection from your body, makes it hard to tune into sensation and stay aroused. So finding your gender euphoria and acceptance with your body can really make your sex life more vibrant, more robust. Okay. So again, when your brain is kind of like in spectator mode instead of like embodied mode, it's like trying to dance while narrating your every move, right? It just doesn't flow. You can't do those things. So it's always important to be more present in your body and fully embrace all the pleasurable feelings you are experiencing. And understand that the big O is a whole body, whole life experience, okay? If you're experiencing these challenges, you're not broken. You're likely carrying more than your nervous system can actually process. And believe me, it happens to all of us at some point in our life, okay? So the goal is to ensure that you minimize it happening too often. You don't want that. So here's some things you can try to make sure you are in an embodied presence, right? So number one, practice sensual mindfulness, okay? Even outside of, sexual experiences, feel your sheets, the texture of your food, the sun on your skin, right? Tune into all your senses and start to take your time with the world around you. Take orgasm off the pedestal, okay? Focus on the pleasure. Remember, on that journey to get there, not the pressure to get there. Think about how you'll get pleasure in all steps on the journey. Okay. Explore your seduction learning style. I can't emphasize this enough, y'all. Of course, my book, The Ultimate Guide to Seduction and Foreplay, that I co-wrote with Jess. Some folks need to hear, some folks need to see, some folks need to touch to get turned on. So tune into which one is going to be the best for you and your lover or lovers. Try outer course instead of penetration. Sometimes we just don't value outer course enough. Sometimes changing the menu, the sexual menu, opens up new pathways to climax. Getting out of your regular sexual routine and engaging in more outer course can help you reflect on different pathways to your personal pleasure. Also, experimenting with fantasy or erotica, right? Engaging your imagination can help override some of that self-consciousness. Okay, so when your mind is on the erotic and you are engaging like in the stories of your mind, this can really sidetrack you so that you can engage in your own pleasures, kind of get in your imagination in your body. And of course, get grounded with breath, sound, movement, right? These are absolutely free tools that ground you in your body and amplify your pleasure. So tap into your erotic breath work, right? Right? To feel more present in your body, play your favorite music, even dancing, which is a really great thing to be doing, can get those happy hormones really going for you. Okay. And if nothing's helping, of course, working with a sex positive therapist or coach can open doors you didn't even know existed, right? We do a lot. We do fun things, and it's really great. So again, orgasm isn't a prize. It's a process. It might be a little bit of a prize. But when we let go of shame, we let go of stigma, we let go of those stressors and start listening to the wisdom of our bodies, pleasure can return with absolute full force, okay? The goal isn't just the big O. It's liberation of the mind and the body, okay? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me today. Cheers to your sexual success. I hope you had a good time. Again, feel free to DM me any kind of questions you may have. I will address them next time I am on air or on live. If there's anything that you have any questions about, always feel free to email me at gettips@velvetlipssexed.com, and that would be fantastic. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have a blast this week, and I will see you next week. Okay. All right. Bye, y'all.